Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Bowl TV. This is Matt Cannizzaro live at the National Bowling Stadium, and we're just getting settled in here through some challenges with our technology, of course, and YouTube. But we join you in progress. Some top players here from upstate New York. From the top, Joe Conti Jr., Dean Distin, Joe Petrowski, Derek Magno, Mike Tryniski, and Ray Sear. So sit tight and enjoy. Again, some great players from the East Coast. Distin and Tryniski both with 2 titles here at the USBC Open Championships back in 1994, regular doubles and team all events. And then back in 2013, Conti and Magno finished tied for 3rd in regular doubles. And of course, right now we're watching doubles and singles. We'll have all 6 games for you as we get settled in. We are behind lanes 15 and 16 here at the NBS. Looking forward to some big scores. We'll have a rundown of the leaderboard, some special guests, and more. So we do appreciate everybody tuning in on this Monday afternoon. Again, Matt Cannizzaro live here at the 2016 USBC Open Championships. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll have a great 6 games coming right up. right, folks. All right, we're just getting settled in here again. We're about halfway through game number 1 of 6 right now, and some good questions already rolling into the chat room, and I'm glad to answer those for you. We've had a little bit of excitement today, so there's about 400 pieces of paper here in the booth with me. But a quick rundown of last night's team event for these guys. They had 2 teams. They bowled on lanes 17 and 18. All right, here we are, all ready to go. Got both team sheets in front of me. And on lane 18, it was Lakeview Lanes shooting 30-65 and just missing the top 10. So 3065, the number for Lakeview Lanes. That group included Art Alexander, 641. TJ Mento, 639. Mike Carno, 554. Joe Petrowski, 578. And Ray Sear at 653. So 30-65 right now, 10th place. A tie at 30-71. So not a bad performance and a good start for these gentlemen going into doubles and singles. And the other team, Ray Sear's Pro Shop, 29-15 with a big 10-40 finish. Derek Magno, 554. Dean Distin, 648. Joe Conti Jr., 629. Larry Porter, 532, and Mike Tryniski, 552. Again, 29-15. Not a bad number. It's going to cash, but probably not the head start they were looking for. But either way, 10 talented players, and you're watching 6 of them right now. Conti, Distin, Petrowski, Magno, Tryniski, and Sear. So a lot of experience and a lot of accomplishments between these 6 players, and we'll have the rundown of each along the way. Big highlights. 1994 regular doubles champs, Tryniski and Distin. I believe Distin had 299 that year, and the two helped their team to the 1994 Team All Events title. So pretty nice effort there in Mobile, Alabama. And still throwing the ball very well 20 plus years later, but also making way for some youngsters. And we saw Conti and Magno make a run at doubles back in 2013. Had to leave for a minute. 14:03, finished tied for 3rd. And always in contention. If you're just joining us, you're watching live coverage of the 2016 USBC Open Championships. This is Matt Cannizzaro, hoping for some special guests in the booth as things unfold. Appreciate all the kind words in the chat room as well. Some very good questions coming in, and one about the online leaderboards. And since the Women's Championships kicked off on Saturday in Las Vegas, we've had a few complications with the push to the internet with those scores. So anybody who's bowled over the weekend, scores are in the system, but not quite live on bowl.com, so don't worry. They'll be there. They are working on that. But we'll give you the rundown of the top 10. We did have some pretty exciting scores this morning. Nicholas J's Pro Shop, you might remember that name from 2012. They burst onto the scene. 5 youngsters picking up the regular team title that year, and they're still making moves here, getting comfortable with their fame here at the Open Championships. Took a couple of years to get their feet back under them. But they made a run at doubles today. Nick Heilman and Andy Mills tied for the lead, 13-41. I know a sigh of relief from Ohio. Matthew Zitnick and Jason Bowles are happy to share the title if it comes down to that. If it was to end in a tie, we would have co-champions here in 2016. That wouldn't be the first time. We had co-champions in classified singles last year. Patty Turner and Dave Berkey at 642. And then off the top of my head, the last time it happened in the regular division was the team event in 2001. Andy Mills stepped up, didn't know what he needed in the 10th frame, left a washout after he got the first hit. First strike, very important for their move. So we got the first one, a crucial double, and then washed out 6 count, spared it to tie that number at 13-41. So that's the number we're looking to beat right now. And that is a big number, to say the least. And Eric Vermilia and Junior Team USA Support, the defending Team All Events champions, certainly will attest to that. They had a very, very tough start to doubles here on Bowl TV just a week ago. And they managed to put something together in singles, so averaging just in the 2-0s in doubles, just plus 39 for the 5 of them for the doubles event. Came back and averaged 231 in singles to get to the top of the Team All Event standings. So all of that in play here as you're watching live coverage from behind lanes 15 and 16 here at the NBS. Pretty good head start. Just getting comfortable last night, 30-65 for Lakeview Lanes, and trying to make some more moves here on day number 2. Very nice crowd online so far. Appreciate the late start. We did miss a couple of frames there. But everything appears to be going well here now. Maybe not so much on the scoreboard, but behind the scenes, and that's all you can ask for. Dave Waswell from the Bowler Show in the house, and very familiar with how things work sometimes, but looking forward to an uneventful, at least from our perspective, 5.5 games coming up here. And Andy Mills and Nick Heilman, our new co-doubles leaders, promised to stop by and share a few thoughts with us as we progress through today's broadcast. Right now in regular doubles, besides the co-leaders at 13-41, 5th place is 13-28, and to make the top 10, 13-06, the final number. So while we're a one-man show here in the booth today, feel free to send some questions my way in the chat room, and I'm going to keep an eye on the rest of the squad. Also, we are 1-60 right now on this 1 p.m. doubles and singles squad, a full house. Last night was our first 8:30 team event, so things really starting to pick up here in 2016, and very cool to see all the familiar faces coming to take their shots at Open Championships glory. We'll have a recap of Mills and Heilman's performance later today on bowl.com, and if any of these guys here on our broadcast Well, we'll catch up with them too. All the news and notes. Did have a brief video of Andy Mills picking up that washout. You can find that on the official Open and Women's Championships Facebook page. A lot of great things shared there throughout each day here at the Open Championships. Aaron Smith now at the Women's Championships in Las Vegas doing the same. Photos of the day, news that's not quite news, little videos and more. So remember to find that page, like it, check it out. Drop us a comment or a question. You can also find us on Twitter at USBC. And then me personally at USBC Matt. If you're curious about the women's or the mixed, you can reach out to Aaron at USBC Aaron. We keep it simple here as we get ready for the final frame coming up here. There's an oops by Conti on lane 15. This is the 2-pin. Still have not had a perfect game here at the 2016 event. Close call yesterday. Emilio Mora Jr., the left-hander, smooth rolling left-hander, had the front 9 in team events, threw a great shot in the 10th, left a ring 7. A hard game of the year so far, 297. We've also had a pair of 289s, a couple 288s as well. Not easy by any means. If you're curious about the lane patterns here at this year's event, please visit bowl.com/openchamp. And in the right-hand menu is a link to the lane conditions. You'll see a variety of graphs of each. The team pattern this year, 38 feet in length, 26.7 mils, and doubles and singles, 39 feet. 27.6 mils. And the experts will tell you we are very similar in look and shape to last year's patterns in El Paso, Texas. Anybody who bowled there will tell you you definitely had to make good shots and earn your success there. A little different lane surface situation here in Reno, of course. Reno, a permanent venue. National Bowling Stadium did get new lanes last year before the Women's Championships. And then throughout the year, different PBA events, national mixed, different things being held here. World Series of Bowling, held here in December. So a little bit more play on these lane panels than we might have seen last year with our brand new installation at the El Paso Convention Center. Pattern's not exactly the same, but similar. So the idea is the same. And just like any other year at the Open Championships, you have to make great shots, and of course, you have to make your spares. And as Junior Team USA support showed us last week, if you can make your spares and grind it out, then perhaps the lanes will open up for you, and good things will come. But they hung in there. They made it back to the top of the team all event standings. 96.72 is the mark. Well short of their average the last 3 years. They were over 10,000. Pretty impressive run. But as you know, you can't win unless you take the lead. They did that. Now all they can do is hope. We've got 2 team all events titles in the last 3 years. 2013 and 2015, with a regular all events title in between for Anthony Lacaze. So should they somehow hold on here in 2016, Lacaze would become the first bowler in history with titles in 4 consecutive years, and to win team all events 3 times in 4 years, pretty amazing. Just the run those guys have been on, and still a lot of teams scheduled to come through to try to take them down. We are relatively early, just a month or so in to this year's event that kicked off on March 5th. We'll go for 129 days. Nearly 8,100 teams here in 2016, and they're all now gunning for Junior Team USA support. But right now it is all about doubles. Again, 1341 is the number, shared by Andy Mills and Nick Heilman from Wisconsin, members of the 2012 regular team winner, Nicholas J's Pro Shop. And they shared that mark with Jason Bowles and Matthew Zitnick, who took the lead early in March as part of an impressive performance by Wycliffe Lanes, left leading in every event. Right now, they still have doubles, and the youngster Robert Burrs leading singles and all events. We'll have more about that over the next couple of games. Big number, 21-22 in all events, and that singles lead, 815, our only honor score of the year. Appreciate the questions coming in. Paul Fuller, in your opinion, Matt, are the lanes more difficult compared to last year? And again, I think you take some different things into consideration, and just basically looking at the scores, I think they're pretty comparable to last year. I have not bowled on either lane condition this year, so no personal insight as far as the comparison. But Eric Vermelia has been on the media tour since they took the lead last week, and I believe he did an interview on above180.com. Also did a newspaper interview up in Minnesota, and he was on the Bowler Show this Sunday with David Waswo, talking about just their success and the run that they've had, and even a little bit about the comparison from last year to this year. And I believe Eric described the National Bowling Stadium as a little bit tighter down lane compared to the friction that he saw in El Paso on the new lane panels. They did bowl early both times, but certainly reaching out to some guys who've already been through and bowled well. A good start for information. Quick, once again on the online leaderboards, unfortunately something went wild when we kicked off at the Women's Championships on Saturday, and as they get things situated there with their leaderboards and their scores coming in, that caused a delay in the Open Championship scores being posted as well. So we're kind of at a standstill here. Folks in IT are well aware and working on that. I do apologize for that inconvenience. Anybody who bowled over the weekend, your scores are safe. And as soon as we can get that push to the website, everything will be updated in a flood of information. So we do appreciate the patience there and for keeping up with the scores. I know it's pretty nerve-wracking for some of you trying to hold on to top spots or kind of see where you fit in with the cash numbers and such. But we'll have that updated for you as soon as possible. These guys did bowl the team event last night and bowled relatively well. They did bowl on that 830 squad, first one of the year, and we were about lane 15 to 44, I believe was the number, so a pretty good size. But Lakeview Lanes led the way. Art Alexander, TJ Mento, Mike Carno, Joe Petrowski, and Ray Sear 30-65, just outside the top 10. Right now, 10th place, a tie at 30-71. And for Race Series Pro Shop, that was Magno, Distin, Conti, Larry Porter, and Tryniski, 29-15. A little bit of a slow start and middle game, 965, 910, but 1040 finish to get to that 29-15 number. Lakeview Lanes also with a hiccup in game 2. They started 1087. Followed that up with just 920 and a 1058 finish for 3065. So I know they, as many others do, feel they left a little bit out there. And a little bit out there now in the first game of doubles as we wrap things up. All right, so Joe Conti Jr., 168 start. Pretty good start, 3 out of 4 strikes. But, not the finish I'm sure he was hoping for. Distin, 188. Petrowski, 179. Derek Magno, 204. Tryniski, 197. And Ray Sear, 170. So, gonna need to get things going here. On our adjacent pair, the rest of the group, Carno and Porter off to a good start. Porter 226, Carno 204. Please tell all your friends we are live here on Bowl TV. This is Matt Cannizzaro, and I'll be here for the next few hours. Hoping to get some guests in here to share the airwaves. But while we have this opportunity, let's hear a little bit about our players here today. Up on lane 16 right now, Dean Distin, again, the 1994 regular doubles and team all events winner. Also has a 3rd place and a 300 at the Bowlers Journal in doubles. Those 2 titles in 1994. Dean had a 299 game. He's also found continued success up in New York. State singles champion back in 1991. Won the Post Standard Masters in 2000. He's among our high score leaders at USBC, the 5th highest 8-game series, 21-48. At one point in time. It's his 29th year here at the Open Championships, 204.2 career average. That's pretty solid. In Joe Conti Jr., tied for 3rd in regular doubles back in 2013 with Derek Magno. Conti also the 2009 Open Singles winner at the Bowlers Journal Championships. $10,000 in his pocket for that win, and an additional $500 for winning the dual entry prize list. As for bowlers who bowl doubles and singles using the same scores, very cool feature at that event, earned him $500 extra. Tryniski getting things done on lane 16 right now. Also a Bowler's Journal champion. He won open doubles in 2006 with Art Alexander. Had a nice payday for those guys too. I believe 10,000 for them to split back then. Joey also with 5 New York State titles. See these guys in their hometown in 2018. We're headed to Syracuse. Haven't been there since 1999. That was my competitive debut at the Open Championships. Made the drive all the way from Florida. About 19 hours. Had a great time and have been back to the Open Championships every year since. And like many competitors, it got started because somebody was missing a bowler, needed a sub. And of course I went and had the wide-eyed experience checking out the venue for the first time, walked down center aisle, got the goosebumps and all those things. And that's what made me come back every year. And then the fact that I get to do that every day now, starting in 2005, pretty cool experience to be a part of this event behind the scenes. And I'll tell you, every time I walk down center aisle, whether it's my time to compete or it's just in between squads, you look around, you still get the goosebumps. All right, here's Tryniski up on 16. We mentioned the 2 titles, regular doubles and team all events back in 1994. Little precursor, had 300 in doubles in 1993, so a real team player. Lakeview Lanes last night just missing the top 10. Finished with 30-65, and then Tryniski's team, Racers Pro Shop, 29-15, so not too far behind. Like a state and local Hall of Famer, also the 2000 PBA East Region Player of the Year, 7 PBA regional titles. So he's been at this for a while and lots of success. Take a look at Derek Magno, now up on lane 15. The only 200 game of the bunch in the opener. 13-time participant here at the Open Championships. Terrific shot there, or 10 in the pit. He's a registered dental assistant. Been with the same doctor for 5.5 years and absolutely loves Syracuse athletics. So if he's not on the bowling lanes, he is somewhere watching the Orange Men get things done. Pretty exciting March Madness, no doubt, this past month. Also a post-standard Masters champ, got that done in 2016, as well as the 2015 Rip-A-Rack champion. So these guys stay very busy on the lanes, and if you're friends with them on Facebook, you get to see all the success that they have up there in upstate New York, and looking forward to visiting their hometown coming up here in 2018. Next year's event, of course, headed to the new South Point Bowling Plaza in Las Vegas. We'll make our return to Sin City. First time since 2009, where we had a near record number of teams, 17,200. Just 85 short of the top mark set here at the NBS in 1995. A lot of teams looking forward to headed back to Vegas, and got a chance to see that facility for the first time this weekend at the Open of the Women's Championships. And you definitely get that feel when you walk up the escalator that this is the real deal. Terrific competitive environment. set up for tournament bowling. High ceilings, huge Daktronic scoreboards. Really looking forward to that. And entries are open for the 2017 Open Championships, so don't delay. Times are filling up. Already got a couple notes from some bowlers that the dates and times they were looking for unavailable. And it's not because we're not bowling that day. It's because teams already are excited and signed up. So you can visit bowl.com/openchamp to get signed up for next year. And that's all in real time. So you can pick your dates and times and you'll see exactly how many spots are available at that moment. If you are just checking in, if it's your lunch hour or you're headed home for the day, I do appreciate it, all the support and all the kind words, and I'm sure these guys do as well. Hopefully the whole East Coast tuning in to see. Our good friend Fran Pirano covering bowling like an all-star up there in the Syracuse area. Even did a write-up about these guys being on Bowl TV today. So Fran, if you're listening, thank you for your support and looking forward to working with you again, hopefully in 2018 when we head your way. More questions rolling in via Facebook Messenger, and glad to answer whatever you guys have. And this one about the pressures of being on the live stream, and I think that this event is challenging enough. I don't know that this adds any more pressure. Of course, bowling in team and doubles, you don't want to let the other guys down, and even though somebody has to be the low man, going back to my college days, you never want to be that guy. But it does happen, and so there's going to be that added pressure. But I think being in front of the cameras, especially these guys here, they've accomplished enough that probably not even fazed by the fact that I'm sitting back here, and don't even know if they've noticed. But you know, they understand the prestige of this event, and if all of those things added together don't add enough pressure, I don't know that they're going to worry too much about some cameras. We've been pretty successful this year, though, 2 for 2 on taking the lead. Our first group, Jeffrey Young and the 5 ICT bowlers, ended up taking the lead in team on Bowl TV. Came back the next day and ended up leading every event. So they're still hanging around the top 10 for the most part. And of course, our last broadcast, Junior Team USA support our defending team all events champion, made an awesome run in singles and found their way back to the top of the standings with a touchable number this time, 96-72. Now just waiting to see how long or how well that holds on as we continue. Long way to go though. July 11th is the final day and tons of teams still scheduled to head our way. We've had some great moments on Bowl TV here at the Open Championships, and even though it's our last year of live streaming, I certainly would love to revisit some of those moments. So if anything stood out for you over the years, I know I have my list. Feel free to send a note and maybe we can compile a little something as a tribute to Open Championships live streaming. For me, you know, we've seen a few honor scores. Matt McNeil, of course, is when he became Matty McHonorscore, was here live on Bowl TV back in 2011. He shot 300, 822 on our broadcast. Came back the next year in Baton Rouge, 300, 847. It's an unbelievable stretch of bowling for Mr. McNeil. Jeff Vanaskis also 300 on Bowl TV. Luke Voigtlander, that was it. Luke Voigtlander. See, so many great moments, they're all running together. But certainly we'll dive into the archives and find some good stuff. I'm sure Aaron Smith has a few favorite memories along with Emil Williams Jr., part of our broadcast team. So we'll see what we can do. Again, we apologize for the late start today. Just missed a couple frames and having a little wrestling match with YouTube, but got it all situated in time with some help from Jason Thomas down in Texas, our live streaming extraordinaire. I don't know that he did anything except answer the phone, which each time I called I made things work properly, so I might just try that again next time right from the start. Right now you are watching live coverage of doubles, our 1 p.m. doubles and single squad here at the 2016 USBC Open Championships. And this is Matt Cannizzaro behind lanes 15 and 16. Looking around, full house of bowlers. 1 through 60 here at the NBS going right now. The number they're all chasing, 1341. a tie at the top of the leaderboards. Happened earlier today. Nick Heilman and Andy Mills came up clutch. Had games of 471, 409 in the transition, and 461 to tie at 1341. Matthew Zitnick and Jason Bowles, they bowled in March, early in March, and have been on top of the standings ever since. To make the top 10 right now, 1306 is the number. But a long way to go after that game 1 start. Just 1/200 of our 6 players here on our featured pair. Some familiar names in our chat room. We do appreciate everybody tuning in and the support. Jeff DeMonk, David Waswo among the 400 watching. Jeff said he's looking forward to heading out to Reno in a couple weeks and looking for the possible chance to get interviewed, which of course would mean he found some success on the tournament lanes. And little did Jeff know, back in 1996 when we were working together at a bowling center in South Florida, that would be a goal 2 decades later. A little high school kid making burgers in the snack bar. Now here we are. So Jeff, anytime you're ready, I will be here. Questionnaire in hand. Safe travels to you and the rest of the crew and everybody else headed our way. 2016 event will continue on for 129 days, March 5th to July 11th. Still plenty of bowling to be had. And we'll even bring some of it to you live here on Bowl TV. That schedule can be found bowl.com/openchamp. 2016 information, and the live stream schedule is there. Our next broadcast coming up in a week, April 18th. 5 of my favorite guys are defending champions in the team event. Team NABR. Adam Barta, Scott Pohl, Brian Wallachek, Mike Rose Jr., and Rob Godshall. Mike R. also hailing from upstate New York. He won all events here back in 2007 and got an opportunity to share that experience and that winning feeling with his teammates last year. Very deserving group, and they understand the magnitude and the history of this event and what it means to have earned those Eagles. And looking forward to seeing them turn around and see their names and the word champion on the scoreboard for the first time And that will happen live here on Bowl TV April 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's our 5 p.m. team event here in Reno. Remember to find us here on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, and you'll get all the alerts and updates. When the broadcast is coming up, and it's going to be a wild year for USBC live streaming for sure. Of course, we have the Open and Women's going on right now. We have USBC Convention and Hall of Fame dinner, both live streamed by Jason Thomas and Emil Williams Jr., followed by the first PWBA event of the year in Las Vegas. That'll be at the end of April. Then we'll be on the road, coast to coast for the PWBA. I'll be making 2 appearances in California, one with Emil Williams Jr. and one with Jason Thomas. We'll head to Las Vegas for the USBC Queens and Senior Queens, as well as the Senior Masters and ITRC Super Senior Classic. And we'll wrap up the summer at Junior Gold and the World Youth Championship. So quite a bit of coverage. And we'll be there for every mile and every minute of it. So remember to check out bowl.com/livestream for a complete schedule. Right now, it's all about our East Coast friends here. Things looking a lot better here in Game 2 as we roll along. Joe Conti up on the right, started with the 168 and already well past that. He had 6 strikes in the first 8 frames here in Game 2, but that ended with the 3-6 here in the 9th. He can still get to 247. His partner, Derek Magno, 204, can get to 209 here in Game 2. Those guys, again, finished tied for 3rd in regular doubles back in 2013, and terrific team players. Our Wild Monday continues here at the National Bowling Stadium today. After this squad, we'll have a couple of ceremonies at center aisle. Bob Martin from San Antonio will celebrate 55 years of participation. He'll get himself a solo march down center aisle and a sweet watch to go along with his 55-year plaque. And then we will welcome the world famous Frankie May Jr. You might recognize him from the Motive booth here at the Open Championships, formerly Visionary. He will be celebrating 50 years of OC participation. So welcome to the 50-year club, Frankie May Jr. We'll have a recap of his 5 decades on the lane. So we'll talk to him tonight when he's done bowling. And we'll have that for you tomorrow on bowl.com. Lots of great news and notes on there, so remember to check it out often, along with the webcams, scores, live scoring, all kinds of goodies on there. Great coverage starting from the USBC Women's Championships and mixed in Las Vegas this weekend. Aaron Smith will be your man there, bringing you all the news and notes. Great shot there by Magno. He had the only 200 in the opening game of doubles. 204. Magno doubles up. He'll be in the 200s once again. Conti with the open in the 10th, 222. Distin mixes him up. Him and Tryniski have been at this for a while. They won regular doubles back in 1994. Still going strong 22 years later. Trying to make some magic happen here in Reno. 188 start for Distin, 197 for Mike. 1341, the number on top of the standings. Full house today, 1 through 60 for this 1 p.m. double single squad. Extra lanes going on the high end there for the showcase lanes, of course. Team practice sessions available, 150 bucks for a pair of lanes for an hour, freshly oiled with the team oil pattern. And the Bowlers Journal Championships presented by USBC also taking place on the showcase lanes. And that's your chance to see the doubles and singles lane condition. Or perhaps win a little extra prize money, as Joe Conti has done. $10,000 for winning singles back in 2009. And Joey Petrowski teamed up with Art Alexander to win doubles at the BJ. I believe they shared $10,000 that year. That was 2006. Nowadays, along with the prize money, the chance to get a look at the pattern you're watching right now. .39-foot doubles and singles sport compliant pattern. Distin finishes with 192. Tryniski 173. here, and Tryniski will finish things up here. Get ready for game number 3, followed closely by singles. Now going back to our new schedule here at the Open Championships, of course, 6 bowlers on each pair of lanes, and you do not switch lanes between doubles and singles, so all 6 games on one pair. Change of schedule also made it so there's no bad squad times. First squad of the day at 9 o'clock. Latest squad starts at 8:30. So you're not up before the sun and you're not out all night. You have time to enjoy what the host city has to offer. Not headed our way in 2016, you're missing out. Ever-changing Reno is as delicious as ever, and still plenty to do. Got a chance to go to the Reno Aces game the other day, opening day. So now baseball season is here and the weather is terrific. Great opportunity to walk from one stadium to the other, just a couple blocks, to check out some top minor league baseball talent. We got to see Reno take on the El Paso Chihuahuas, so it's kind of bittersweet. Of course, we spent last year in El Paso, made some great friends, and really had a chance to enjoy the Southwest flavor and the great scenery up there on the El Paso mountaintops and such. All kind of brought it back. It's the bridge between 2015 and 2016. Watching those two teams do battle. So glad to be back in our home away from home. Right now, we are at home behind lanes 15 and 16. Game 3 underway. Tryniski finished with 209, Sear 230. On our other pair, Larry Porter and Mike Carno off to a great start, 226 and 204. But, game 2, not so good, 138 for Porter, 166 for Carno. So they're well under the plus mark through 2 games. No doubles title this year for those guys. Rest of the group, TJ Mento 176, 158. Art Alexander 179, 204. Appreciate everybody stopping in today here on Bowl TV. This is Matt Canizar. For those of you just joining us, hello from the National Bowling Stadium. This is doubles game 3. The number to beat, 1341. Tie atop the leaderboards. So Andy Mills with a clutch washout pickup today to tie that mark. Expecting a visit from our new doubles co-leaders coming up here sometime during today's broadcast. It'll be nice to get some thoughts from them. Right now, Derek Magno trying to strike his way back to the top of the standings as well. Him and Conti were there in 2013, finished third, tied for third overall. Nice little payday and big taste of success here on the big stage. Our next broadcast coming up April 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Defending team champion, Team NABR. Adam Barta, Scott Pohl, Brian Walczek, Mike Rose Jr., and Rob Gottschall. They've been close here in Reno before and had a magical 10th frame last year in El Paso to get those Eagles. They'll be back in town with team sponsor Pete Barta. Looking forward to having those guys out and here on Bowl TV. They've been on before, if you remember Brian Walczek, our very first and only Bowl TV nosebleed. Made for a little bit of entertainment while they actually bowled pretty well that day. But we'll have their whole team event, hopefully their whole team event, here on the 18th. Pretty hot start here in the doubles finale. There's Magno up on 15, looking for 4 in a row. Goes high, trips to 410. Gotta get a break every now and then, take advantage of that. Derek 204, 208. Guys, 802 after 2 games. Best they can get to is 1370, but that is a long way to go. Essentially, can't miss again. Tryniski and Sear both can strike out. They can sneak into the lead by 3 sticks. Again, we're only in the 4th frame though. Super long way to go. Pretty experienced group here. Magno bowling for the 13th time. Conti, number 10. Larry Porter making his 14th appearance. 29 for Tryniski. 27 for Mike Carno. Number 20 picking up the commemorative Padfolio, Art Alexander. Number 23 for Petrowski. 25 for Ray Sear, getting a plaque last night in the squad room. TJ Mento, former Wichita State standout. Number 13, and Dean Distin, making his 29th appearance here at the OC. Gentlemen, thank you for your dedication. And for those of you out there headed our way, still looking for our first perfect game here in 2016. A couple close calls. High game is 297. Now Magno tripped to 410 on the left lane. No doubt this time, as he is 5 for 5 here in game 3. Curious about the lane conditions we're facing here, you can visit bowl.com/openchamp. Click on the lane conditions tab. 38 feet for the team event. 39 feet for doubles and singles. Got 2D, 3D, and overhead graphs for you. And if you want to practice on the patterns, team practice sessions available on the showcase lanes here at the NBS. And the Bowlers Journal Championships, of course, features the doubles and singles pattern. So definitely an opportunity to get that tune up before you hit the big stage. These guys have been in town, some of them for quite a few days. couple of visits from team captain Mike Carno, giving us the heads up on what's what and let me know they were really gonna take advantage of all the opportunities here at the NBS. This year's high game belongs to Alan Rodriguez from Minnesota, 297 on April 1st. And of course, the big number, 815. Our only 800 rolled by Robert Burrs on March 15th. So he took the regular singles and regular all events lead, 21-22. The number to beat. Team leader, who's Eddie Bird, 32-41. That team includes USBC Hall of Famer Linda Barnes, PWBA Rookie of the Year, Stephanie Johnson, and of course, Eddie Bird. Who's that? Just kidding, Eddie Bird. Here's Magno, looking to make it 6 in a row. Goes high again. The dreaded 3-6-9-10. So early hook there on lane 15. Now looked like the ball speed a little bit slower on that shot. And it goes through the nose. Tough spare there, leaves the 9. So we will not see new doubles leaders here on this squad. So our co-leaders probably pretty happy about that. And now we have a special guest coming up here in just a minute. It is the one and only, always smiling. I didn't recognize him without his red pants, Andy Mills.
Hello, man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
You guys had a pretty good day, and of course we've seen you on the other side of the cameras now here on Bolt TV and in your title defense back in 2013. A lot has changed for you guys. You've grown up and matured and understand what it's all about quite a bit more. But while we'll have you on, we'll talk a little bit about 2012. But right now we're watching the end of doubles here, and you guys are looking safe at this point.
Okay.
But you know, they got off to a slow start here. You can see just 1-200 in game number 1. But you guys are fresh off the lanes. Just got done throwing that big spare conversion for a share of the lead. Can you talk a little bit about what you experienced out there today?
Yeah, we worked together, kind of like we did in team event. Same type of strategies we did in team event for our 6 guys on our pair for singles and doubles. And ultimately it just came down to throwing really good shots and helping the lanes transition that way. And it kind of led to us getting off to a great start with 471. Really loosened up the arm swing a little bit, knowing that we didn't have to dig too big of a hole to try to put up a decent number. It just kind of came to us right off the bat.
All right, now we see a lot of the transitions sometimes coming in game 3, and we'll see great scores through 2, and then it's kind of like falling off a cliff. We talked about that quite a bit in recent years, especially with the tricky ice oil. You guys said you saw that transition a little bit earlier. You can see that obviously in the scores. I believe it was 470 and then 4-0, and then a big 461 finish. But talk about getting through that a little bit and then being able to really get that momentum back for game number 3.
Yeah. Me and Nick, we were talking about kind of the zones to play, and when Nick was hitting the pocket, but just wasn't carrying, just kind of hold your spot, stay in that zone, make a small adjustment, nothing too radical. And that's what he did, and it ultimately kind of came to bite him a little bit because he kind of got stuck in that zone a little too long. But that's where it happened for us, about frame 6, 7, 8 of game 2. I know I spared out and caught a late double, frames 9 and 10, and Nick 4-9 in the 9th frame, and didn't double until the start of the 3rd game. So that's kind of where we hit our transition. It wasn't quite game 3, but it was just right in about 6, 7, 8 of game 2.
All right, folks, just tuning in. This is Matt Canizaro. You're watching live coverage of the 2016 USBC Open Championships, and we're joined by regular doubles co-leader Andy Mills, here to share some thoughts about today's performance. It only happened to one squad ago. Pretty cool. If you want to check out that video on the official Open and Women's Facebook page, just the final spare conversion to get a share of the lead. He had no idea. He got up and threw the first one was the important one after Nick did not strike on the first shot in the 10th. But he got up there, threw the first one. That was the important one. Second one kind of went out the window. What happened there?
What happened there was the first one was great off my hand. It looked like it kind of just checked mid lane and just quit, because I thought it was going through the face. I really did. I didn't move on that lane the whole entire set. And actually, ironically, I didn't move for team event either. So it was kind of hard to watch that. So then when it checked early and kind of quit, I just did a little move in, kind of trying to get a good gauge for singles too, to see if that would be a good start too. And like you said, not knowing anything, and I gassed it. I just threw it really hard, right out the window for the 1-2 6-10, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds right. The 1-2 6-10. And I did the math real quick after that shot, and
Yep.
I've got the camera back up in time to see the conversion, but
Excellent.
the celebration was fantastic. You had just thought you made a cool washout, and
Yeah, that's all it was. It was I was excited to get the first one for 30 clean. That for some reason it just clean frames and tournaments for me just don't go hand in hand. I generally just tend to strike a lot, and so to pick that up too was just a little bit of a fitting. And then when Nick told me that we tied, I kind of let out a little bit of emotion and was pretty excited.
well, we call you the always smiling Andy Mills because you never know, kind of how you're feeling. You're just you're kind of that spark to the team, and serve that role very well, of course. And we'll go back to 2012. First time I met you guys, I was actually walking through the squad room and noticed first the team uniforms, of course. You guys do a great job with the jerseys and often the matching pants, and just looking terrific. So you it was easy to tell that you guys, you understood, the whole pride aspect of things, and just being a young group, you had the vibe of college bowling. So I was actually giving a tour to one of our part-timers who was working with us that year, and it might have even been his first day. And what a first day for him. But my plan was to show him around and show him the ropes a little bit and point out some folks and duck out for the day. I had enough. It was getting late.
Yep.
So that was the late team squad there.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, we got done at midnight, close to midnight. I remember calling my wife, and that was a long, exhausting night. I can't, for you guys, I can't imagine how you do it day in and day out. But
well, I think just getting to talk to you guys after, those are the moments that make it worthwhile for us and the long days. And but after seeing you guys in the squad room, I told them, keep an eye on those guys. They look like they know what they're doing. I have no idea who any of them are, but I had met Trevor before. Trevor bowled 300 here at the stadium, so I knew obviously that he knew how to play. And I just told Kevin, keep an eye on those guys and just keep me posted on what they're doing. I went home and had just enough time to take off my suit, sit down for about 3 minutes, and relax. And you guys were putting on a strike show at the Baton Rouge River Center. So I stood back up, put the suit back on, and went in to help Kevin. We get some video and do some different things that we did back in the day. And it was very cool. I believe only 8 holes, the whole entire team event. Filled frames, very important. You mentioned the 30 clean today, and Certainly a whole lot of strikes there too. A very tough lane condition back then. You guys shot 34.01.
Yeah.
And put up a great number. But you mentioned today that it took a while to even realize what you guys had done and accomplished. And as that score held up for weeks and months, and it became more real. I know that where you come from in Wisconsin, you understand the tradition of the event, and some of the great players who have come from that state and just what it means. But at that point, you guys were young and taking the lead at the Open Championships. What's going through your head back then?
Well, back then, it was all about what you just said. It was keeping stuff clean, throwing good shots, putting up a number, and at the time, 30-86, I believe, was in the lead, and we had that after about frame 7. So it wasn't that it was easy to do, but it was, at the time, it was just we were going to take the lead, and at what point, how much it was going to be, and not even expecting to win. It was just we took the lead. We didn't know what 3,400 meant. You wrote the awesome article about how that was the 33rd one in the tournament history, and then everything kind of started coming into perspective of, wow, if that's the 33rd one, I mean, we might have a chance to win here. And as weeks and months went by, like you said, we checked it every day. Rick Steele-Smith's team. I mean, I can rattle this stuff off like it was yesterday. Rick Steele-Smith's team started with 1180, and we hop on the computer, try to get the live scoring going. Good friends of ours, Greg Thomas and Tony Oliva, they end up taking second, heading into the 9th frame. They got a chance to put 3 doubles together out of 5 guys. They couldn't do it. They end up 30 pins short. And all that, it was just, you just never forget those moments. Well, and that's what it's about for us and as a team. And like you said, when we come all together as a 10, we don't live in the same city anymore. We're graduated college. We're maturing. But it's, we get to come together for a weekend and make the most of it.
Well, the scoreboard watching, of course, all part of the experience, and you guys got to ride that out and, of course, get the phone call at the end of the year that it was in the books, it was real, and then put yourselves on the map nationally and came back, and then we had a chance to talk about just really how much preparation actually goes into this for you. And, we all have seen, the Jeff Briggles Chronicles, the 11thframe.com blog, and just, how it really preparation almost starts the day you leave the previous year's event. You're already thinking about what went right, what went wrong, getting ready, and then once the lane conditions are available, it's time for, in your case, it's Nick Heilman. He's kind of your information guy, the pro shop guy.
Yep.
Does his homework, studies the patterns, and gets the equipment ready. You guys talk about it quite a bit.
Yep.
And behind the scenes, doing all the work, the paperwork, getting everything going.
Yeah, he's just our glue. He does everything for us. I thank him every time I'm done bowling. He's my eyes. He's the guy watching my ball every time. And we just bounce ideas off each other and what might work, what might not work. And he's just the rock that keeps us all going. It's just incredible what he does for our team.
Well, and it is a year-long experience and preparation, and we'll talk a little bit more here once we get into singles, just about the transition from those 5 guys, really 10 guys or 10 people. Sorry, there's some girls in the group as well.
Yep.
Who took the lead in 2012 to how far we've come now, to the guys who took the lead in doubles earlier today. But let's watch our final frame here.
Yeah, these guys have a lot more heading into the 10th than we did, and it makes you wonder where their transition hit compared to ours, and they're throwing some great shots here.
Well, that leading number, of course, 1341, Mills and Heilman, and Matthew Zitnick and Jason Bowles. So Jason Bowles already checked in on Facebook, and probably a sigh of relief that he didn't get 7 on that first shot after the strike in the 10th. But glad to share that title should it hold on.
Yeah. Ultimately we don't think it's going to hold, but at the same time it's awesome to leave with the lead. And as we had the saying back then, and everybody says you can't win unless you leave with the lead. So I'm going to get my buddy Nick in here. He's going to have a little bit of talking. Matt, thank you very much for the time.
Certainly, Mr. Mills checking out, and we'll have Nick Heilman come in here in just a minute. We'll watch the final frame of doubles here. Joe Conti putting something together. He's going to be in the 240s. A little bit of a slow start. We mentioned 168. Followed that up with 222, and now can get to 247. Derek Magno has been consistent. There's a 4-pin second shot in the 10th, but 204, 208, and then strikes to start the first 5 frames here. Then a little bit of a miscue. Went high left and missed the 3.6, 9.10, but he'll be in the 250s now with a conversion. So very nice comeback here for these guys. The rest of the crew pulling well here in game 3 as well, and only perhaps a precursor for singles. We saw that with Junior Team USA support last week. Struggled quite a bit to start doubles and came up huge, averaging 230 in singles to get to that team all events number of 96.72. So Magno and Conti finished with 13.01. Not a bad performance at all. And Nick Heilman can breathe a small sigh of relief here next to us in the booth at 40 pins short, but a little bit of momentum here going into singles. Nick, you watched a couple frames here. What are you thinking about these guys? And again, as Andy mentioned, wondering where the transition happened for them, and just got off to a rough start, but got progressively better and finished strong, and singles could look pretty huge here.
Yeah, we just got here, 4 or 5 frames ago, but I'm wondering and wishing I was here earlier to see where they played and what they did from the start, because the lanes look great for them. I mean, everything looks good, and I think they're going to have the big possibility of putting up big numbers in singles. But everything that I've seen that they're doing and that they're throwing, they look like they got a little bit a hold in, and there's been some shots that I thought were out the window to the right, and as long as they catch it on the bottom, they came back up and they were as strong as anything.
All right, well, the strategy changed a little bit back in 2013, going to 6 on a pair and all 6 games on one pair of lanes. And Andy mentioned the team strategy kind of carrying over, and maybe a little different strategy based on the 2 different lane conditions. But talk a little bit about what that strategy was, if you don't mind, or just a general idea, just coming in on how you guys work together and communicate to be able to find that kind of success.
I think what you do for singles and doubles has got to be pretty close to what you do for team now. If you got your pair that's got 6 guys on it, you've got to treat it the same, and not everybody has to pound the same mark at the arrows, but you have to be cognizant of where everybody's playing and what they're using, and your surfaces have to dictate that as much as anything, that you just have to be aware of what your reactions are. But I love the change. I love not having as much up to chance. You can control anything. If you don't score well and your lanes don't get to how you want them, it's nobody's fault but your own for how you play them, and you go back to the drawing board for the next year.
All right, as we see Tryniski and Distin finishing up strong as well, 12:15. 6:09 for Distin, 6:06 for Mike, and those guys way back in 1994, the regular doubles champs, so they've been at this a while and still going strong here in 2016. We'll watch our final couple shots here from Petrowski and Ray Sear, and then we'll talk a little bit more about kind of your role with Nicholas J's Pro Shop, and of course you would be the Nicholas J in that equation.
You can answer this for me, Matt. Did they throw any surface in practice or game 1 at all, or is it a lot of this shiny strong balls that are being out there right now?
I'll actually be pretty honest. We're having some YouTube malfunctions during practice, and generally we're not watching too much at that point in time, and don't want to give away too much information, I guess. We just focus on the scores on the scoreboard there, but
that might be good for them and good for us, because whatever they did looks really good out there now.
I know Eric Vermelia has been kind of the man of the hour since taking the lead in team all events last week, and done a lot of interviews talking about what their strategy was and where some of their hiccups were. I believe they started doubles with an 850 game. It was not pretty at all. They ended up just plus 39, through doubles and then whacked them in singles to get to where they are. But a lot of good insight there from those guys bowling early, and just an idea of, at what point, in the day did they go from the surface to the pro equipment that we saw in singles, and really open up the lanes and were able to finish strong. .622 for Petrowski, and they'll be right around that 1200 mark as well. Sears going to finish things up here.
I mean, they did something right early on and throughout there. If the low guy on their pair is going to be Ray at about 590, that's as impressive as anything to have those scores up there for what you're starting off bowling with in doubles.
So 591 for Ray and 1213. So 3 pretty good double sets. And again, the big finish there, 247, 229, 234, 252, 236, and 191 with the last 4. So these guys have to be feeling pretty good going into singles. Now, Nick, while we get there, kind of talk about that a little bit, and the emotion of the doubles lead. And Andy had no idea, and you pointed it out, and then to be able to refocus and then bowl 3 more games. What is that like?
It was. I thought Andy knew what he was going for, what he was at, but I think he said later he thought 1360 was in the lead, so he didn't think we were even close to it. I mean, to get down, it's I guess a hard event to take the lead and be too excited about it, because you got 3 more games and you get excited about it, or you try to concentrate any or have any happiness or joy in that, and then all of your focus on the next 3 games goes out the window. And that's the biggest thing with here, is it's so mentally draining and exhausting putting in not just 9 games of bowling. The physical aspect isn't very hard of it, especially for people who bowl any amount of tournaments, but it's the conditions, and it's watching the 5 other guys on your pair for singles and doubles, and watching the 9 other guys or girls on your team pair, and watching what they're doing, where they're playing, what they're using, and trying to all equate that to not only what's going to help you score the best, but what's going to help the lanes transition to make everybody on your team and everybody on your pair score the best.
Well, you mentioned just the physical and mental anguish that is involved with coming to the Open Championships every year, and we talked with Andy about kind of how that process goes for you guys and where that starts. And your role on the team, everybody has one. You're the hard-working team captain behind the scenes doing the paperwork, but doing your homework as well from the pro shop side of things, just talking equipment, getting equipment ready. And Andy, his personality kind of shines through when he's bowling as being the kind of the firecracker of the team.
Yep.
Can you describe kind of those roles and what it is for you, kind of how things go when they start and in the weeks and months leading up to this event?
Well, this is our 5th year going together with basically this group of 10. We've had a couple years where some of our teammates have had babies within a week or 2, so they've had to have somebody else take their place, but at least 9 of us have been together for 5 years. I just like to take care of all the paperwork, try to get everything as much as I can set up for flights, for hotels, so they don't have to worry about it and we're all on the same page. And then as soon as patterns are released or have been in the past, it's kind of looking at them. They're all usually pretty close to the same, but seeing if there's any kind of quirks or anything that would make us really try to look into doing a different strategy. This year was easy because it was so similar to last year and we didn't bowl that great as a team last year, that we just took what we did last year and we thought we're going to do the opposite this year and just throw a lot more aggressive stuff a lot farther outside because we have nothing to lose. And that's what we did. As you said, Andy's kind of the center of attention for most of us when we're bowling. He likes it that way. I like it that way. Him and Trevor are real similar that way. Both of them are as energetic as anybody I've seen on the lanes, and I'm glad I wasn't around them when they were a lot younger because I think I would be even more tired just from watching them. But yeah, everybody's got a little bit of a different role. I don't think we have the classic second team role where they're just here to either support or make the lanes nice. I think there's enough talent on our second team that we're all trying to make it as nice for everybody, because I think they've got just as good of a shot at putting up big numbers as we do. And that was the key for in 2012. When we won, they finished 16th. And I don't know the records. I'd like to see what if there's a combination of companion teams that finished higher than that in a combination, because that's, as proud as I am of finishing first, of having 2 teams in the top 16, I really like that stat.
Well, and we talked to a lot of teams that come in with that one team mentality, that it's 10 guys or girls working for the same cause, and if one team wins, they couldn't do it without the other team. Eric Vermilio with Junior Team USA support, their companion team, 5 ladies, a couple left-handers, so it really mixes things up. The strategy is all about the 10 people working together, and either you buy in or you probably buy your ticket out,
Right.
essentially. But the communication, especially for you guys, is pretty intense and pretty cool to watch. Just the extra eyes and always talking after every shot, and it never stops. What did you see on that shot? What did you do? What's going on? And I saw a lot of ball changes and ball choices and things happening at the end of doubles, just based on the last couple shots and just kind of trying to think ahead to obviously finish strong and potentially make a run at team all events. You guys needed a huge number anyway, but a lot of things happened there, moments after tying for the lead and then trying to refocus for the 3 games. Can you talk about, at that time, what are you guys thinking, scrambling for? What's the strategy at that point?
We came together at a good time where almost all of our 10 were either bowling in college or I was coaching for a college, all on the same team, and that's all college is everybody's talking on every shot, and it's a really cool aspect of the game that I think is a really bright shining point for the game. Is college bowling's a whole experience to itself, and I wasn't involved in it very much as a player, but as a coach I loved it, and so everybody's used to that. As far as doubles, this was exhausting as far as ball changes and lanes, watching the lanes and watching everybody else, because it was never a classic, a spot got really dried up and it was clear you had to move. You could, if you were throwing the ball well, you could stay in the same zone, whether it was 8 or 12 or 15 at the arrows, and you could stay there and get to the pocket pretty much all of doubles, but your carry would kind of go in and out, and you needed to watch and play that. So it was a harder watch that, you needed as many eyes as possible to see what the lane was doing and why shots that didn't carry. Were they bad off your hand? Did you miss it at the bottom? Were you fast? Or have you thrown 2 or 3 good there that have just kind of ring 10? And that's, in years past, you wait until you really get a lot of high 4 pins, or you start washing out if stuff carries down. But this year you could pound the pocket for 9 pins and other pocket leaves, and that's when you're going to be making your moves. Otherwise you're falling behind it. It was just a whole kind of different sense of breakdown this year, it felt like, for singles and doubles that was just a little bit harder to keep up with.
Now, did you guys have the opportunity to take advantage of the showcase lanes in the Bowler's Journal and really get an idea over there, at least a general idea?
We did the practice pair for the team event, but none of us have bowled the Bowler's Journal or bowled anything with the minors event before today. We kind of went that direction to keep, in the years past, the Bowler's Journal has been fairly similar, but you go and bowl it a couple times, and if you don't bowl so well, it might carry over into your team event and carry over into even singles and doubles, having a preconceived notion of what it's going to do. And I would have rather, for all of us, not have any kind of notions of what we're expecting. Did we bowl good or bowl bad? And just come in fresh for minors on it and kind of stay in a better frame of mind than I think we've gotten ourselves trapped into in years past.
Well, going back to 2012, and we talked to Andy about what a learning experience that was for you guys, and just being in that position for the first time. And I know, even at the time, you're kind of the old guy of the group, but with the most experience and the most life experience coming in with the young group and trying to keep them grounded. I know, just and focused during the team event, and then of course the next day, and the challenging months that followed, waiting to see if that number was enough. But you guys haven't bowled as well as you did, or as you'd hoped, I think, since then. But I would imagine that with the win, expectations changed quite a bit, the bar a little bit higher, and the pressure on yourselves to perform, especially with everybody watching after the victory, made things a little more difficult the last couple of years. And you said that today was the first time really since then that everything really felt good and clicked, and you felt comfortable together as a group and just in general. Can you talk about what that transition and that growth has been like since 2012?
It's been, we've had getting everybody where I think our whole second team at that time was the oldest person was 22. So everybody was in college. Most of them, it was their first time here at the Open Championships. And now everybody's out of college. Everybody's starting to move away like everybody does in life. So it's different from having all 10 people where we all bowled the same leagues together. We were together 2 or 3 nights a week for a league. A couple of the people worked at the home center there, so we saw each other all the time. Now we're getting people spread out back across the country. As I imagine, every group of friends or every team that's of this age goes through. So it's harder, it's a little bit stranger to not have, we used to have a Wednesday night league, and afterwards we'd put out the Nationals pattern came out, and we'd have all 10 people would be there practice on it. Well, we've only got 5 people in town now, so you never get quite the breakdown, you never see the same thing. You get everybody else will practice on it at their homes, but everybody's got different lanes, everybody's got a different oiling machine, everybody's got different oil they run in there, and you're never going to get it the same as what it is here. You hardly ever get it the same from the practice pairs here to the actual lanes here, so let alone when you're doing it back at your home center. You can certainly get close and try to narrow things down that way, but it's just never going to be the same.
So going back to 2012 and kind of the rise of Nicholas J's Pro Shop, and you were able to, as you said, see everybody on a regular basis and do all this together. Mm-hmm. And now experiencing what many other teams do, doing it from a distance, and whether you guys are able to meet once or twice to do a practice session or not. Technology, I'm sure, allows a lot of good communication. We talked about that quite a bit with the Vermilias and their group coming from 7 different states, the 10 of them. They see each other essentially once or twice a year. This is the big time, of course. Otherwise, maybe on a social aspect, a golf vacation or something. But what do you guys do now from a distance, seeing that side of the spectrum, trying to hold all the pieces together? And are you still drilling the equipment for everybody, or are they doing it wherever they are and you're giving advice, or how's that work now?
I'm still drilling stuff for everybody. Our bowling alley is about 2 blocks from a UPS store, so it's real convenient that way. And for the most part, except for one, we're all still in Wisconsin. We're just in different parts of Wisconsin, so probably a weekend or 2 a month, most of us will cross paths at different tournaments, because most all of us are still bowling a lot of tournaments on the weekend. And thankfully, Wisconsin, if you want to bowl and you want to drive up to 3 hours, you can bowl something every single weekend from September until about now. It just depends on how much you want to drive, how much you want to pay, and all that. So we don't all live together, but we still see each other quite a bit as far as tournaments go, so it's nice to kind of keep track of how everybody's game's going, what their new equipment's doing, any holes in their arsenals they're looking to fill. And then usually about February, March comes around, and you start really trying to fill in holes for what you expect to see again out at the Open Championships.
Well, certainly following you guys on Facebook, you can tell when it's tournament season in the Midwest, and you guys all over Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, on the road. A pretty good year for a bunch of you. I know a couple wins for Andy and for yourself. Can you talk about some of those successes and kind of how that helps the confidence and the preparation for the big stage here at the Open Championships?
I think the best part is there's so much, like you said, between Wisconsin, Iowa with their tour they do down there. The Dakotas have a lot of bowling going on. Minnesota, we went up to Canada for a couple things, or for one thing this year that Andy won. There's just so much good bowling and scratch tournaments and so many really, really good bowlers that you feel like you're competing against the best every weekend. It's not like you're bowling your leagues every week and then coming to the Open Championships is a whole different ballgame. You're used to bowling against the best people in a 3, 4, 5 state range that all have, or a lot have, PBA titles, national titles, USBC titles, and it's more than anything, it's a confidence. You realize that you see the people, you see a lot of guys that bowl nationally on TV, and then they end up being from your area, and you see them in local tournaments, and it's nothing mythical about them. They're not a superhuman that was born just to bowl. They're just really, really good at what they do. They put in a lot of time and effort, but you also realize that they don't shoot 300 every game. They see transitions, they go through ball changes, they do all that too. So the more you can watch and the more you can learn from them, it makes it the easiest. The hardest part is to not be, the first couple times you're always going to be intimidated watching, Pete Weber's been at some regionals, bowl stuff that he's there. It's awesome. It's huge to see that. Even Jeff Riggles being around there, all the eagles and everything he does for bowling. But you start watching and you see what they do and you learn from what they do and try to emulate that to, they've gone through a lot of steps from coming from a young bowler to all the experience and all the success they have. And anything you can take from them that will translate, that'll save you one or two learning steps or learning periods that you don't have to battle through is just going to help you in the long run.
All right, folks, some great advice from Nick Heilman, 2012 regular team champion, and now, as of this morning, co-leader in regular doubles here at the 2016 USBC Open Championships in Reno, Nevada. Right now, you're watching some top performers from upstate New York. Try to get it done here live behind lanes 15 and 16. And we'll be here. This is game one of singles. We saw a little bit of a hiccup there. Guys bowled on the wrong lane, got all that situated, and we are settled in. They had a nice finish to doubles. And looks like the lanes were getting pretty nice, so we're expecting and hoping for some big scores and some excitement here on Bowl TV. We're 2 for 2 this year with new leaders, but the numbers in singles, they're getting up there. 815, our only honor score of the year. Robert Burrs getting that done on March 15th. He also is our all events leader at 21-22. And Nick, you guys fresh off the lanes and came in looking at the leaderboard, seeing those numbers. Having already bowled, what do you think about the performance for Wycliffe Lanes and Mr. Burrs?
It's amazing. I thought we did the lanes really well going through doubles and into singles, and I was high with 660. And so, I mean, anybody that's shooting scores on this, it's outstanding. It's such a tough condition, and you have to not only play the right part of the lane with the right equipment, but you have to execute so well to ever get into that position, and nobody's going to shoot 815 because the lanes are so easy out here. They earn every stick that they get out here, and you see scores like that, it's impressive.
All right, well, unofficially here for you guys, just missing the top 10 in the team event, 30-58. And then the all events numbers, 1987 for Andy Mills, Trevor Yonan, 1962. You had 1892. Greg Peasel struggled a little bit, 1689. Didn't quite catch the end of Mislowick's series there, but he should have been right around or just under that 1800 number. But of course, things came together for you guys in doubles, 1341. Andy pretty consistent, 680, 680, 620. And then for you today, 650, 660. But how important would you say, that obviously the doubles and again working together to get to singles with the expectations that the lanes would open up and give you some missed room and such. Did it kind of go how you expected?
Kind of. We had a little bit of a different plan for doubles. It's always kind of been, spend practice, spend a good amount of the first game with more service and really trying to get them nice for singles. And you walk in and you see the leaderboards and highs, 1340, and you think, 670 a person, it's really attainable. So we kind of switched and tried to, we still want to set up the lanes light, but let's try to score a little bit more in doubles, and let's not try to save it for singles, because there's a lot more good scores in singles, and, quite honestly, if you can shoot higher in doubles, scores are lower, you're probably going to make more money in brackets. You're probably going to make more money at the end of the year payoff. So it's a fine line between, I say, do you want to score in doubles or do you want to score in singles? Because they usually you don't get both of them, depending on how you play the lane. So we kind of tried to walk that line a little bit, didn't throw as much surface, started in a little bit farther than we have in the past. And it worked out pretty good. Like I said, there was never any big holes blown in the pattern. There was just little moves as far as carry where you could get stuck in that zone and still hit the pocket, but you really have nothing to show for it, and that can get as frustrating as anything.
Well, we saw here in 2014 our regular singles champion Lewis Jenkins Jr. had 520 in doubles, and said he didn't even move, didn't change balls, didn't do anything. They just they stayed with their game plan and stayed in the same spot, and things fell into place for him in singles. 826 with a 300. Just pretty amazing. You know, when you think that you're on the bowling lane with the oil is invisible, and but yet it's moving around every shot you throw, and you know, for things to fall into place quite like that, pretty magical performance. And you guys, I'm sure, felt similar, maybe not right away in 2012, but in looking at that score sheet with just 8 holes the entire 3 games, you gotta feel pretty good about filling frames and stringing strikes, and no doubt that was certainly a team effort, just like today, in working together, holding each other up. You know, talk about the team aspect of it, even off the lanes, but behind the lanes, and what takes place back there.
There's still a lot of talking about where you're going to play, you know, all 10, the equipment. Usually we have a pretty good rundown of what everybody's equipment is and what they're going to kind of use as a burn ball, what they're going to go to after that, and what their progressions are going to be throughout their whole equipment. So when you get here and you're bowling, there's not a lot of big guessing of, well, what's it going to do if I go from this ball to the other one. We usually try to have at least a decent understanding of what's going to happen with that ahead of time. Otherwise, off the lanes, there's just a lot of, like I said, we're all 10 have been really close friends for 5, 6, 7 more years. Me and Andy and like Matt Mislevic have known each other a little bit longer, so there's just, I mean, it's a good time. It's hanging out. It's, you see us on Facebook, it's a lot of mini golf. It's a whole lot of mini golf.
So just a complete experience, I would say, and you guys are going to be here throughout the day today and tonight, and no doubt doing some more teamy things now that the bowling's done. And you mentioned how exhausting it is, but now that it's over and you bowled well, and I'm sure brackets and some prize money coming your way. But how do you guys enjoy the host city and take advantage of being together, you know, for one of the few times all year, and being in different places and just really having that team building off the lanes?
It's, I mean, Reno can get a little exhausting coming here all the time, but we love coming here because everything is close, everything's walking distance, everything is so nice. And I don't know, I'm not here enough, but just from walking around the little we have, the whole town looks nicer and more upbeat, and everything looks newer and more taken care of than it has in the past. It just seems like stores or hotel casinos that were closed in the past, everything is brighter, they're vibrant colors. It just seems like the whole city's doing that much better, and it should be. If people aren't coming because it's in Reno, they should really reconsider it, because it's really getting to be a nice town and a nice destination, and there's not a whole lot else to do besides bowling and the casinos, but we really like casinos. So Andy especially really likes casinos. But it's a nice, and I know there's a lot of things to do. Although other teams that we know come out here go golf and do other things. I'm still looking for more mini golf courses. Somebody said, does Grand Sierra have?
Grand Sierra, last I checked, had a driving range into the lake. Coconut Bowl, I believe, has some mini golf. There's also one down on Virginia Street. There's some new additions. There's a go-kart place not too far from here. There's actually a coupon for that in the coupon book. But you're right, Reno's ever-changing. They call it the Renovation. So the downtown really coming to life. The Riverwalk area, just tons of restaurants and bars and different things. A lot of craft beer around town, so a lot of beer guys coming our way to get out and have a unique beverage. Baseball season just got underway. The Reno Aces, just a short walk from the National Bowling Stadium. Not to mention all of the competition inside the NBS with the Bowler's Journal, the 40-frame game. You know, over at Coconut Bowl, they also have the water slides and some different family-type activities. So if the kids are in town as well, you got the outlet mall to go do some shopping. There's actually, above the Nike store at the Sparks Marina is O'Cleary's Irish Pub. They have 6 bowling lanes inside the restaurant, as well as some pool tables and a nice TV area. So good opportunities to go get out there as a team and enjoy some great food and drinks, and The weather here has been pretty nice the last couple weeks, and minus a rainy day here and there, but 300 days of sunshine and the chance to get out and just walk around and see how the city has changed. And no doubt if you were here even in 2010, things looking way different. The event center across the street staying pretty busy. Carrie Underwood was just here a couple days ago. The Reno Bighorns basketball team always playing games, and always a good show to see at some of the casinos. So plenty to see and do. And if you're a golfer, I think there's about 40 golf courses within an hour of Reno. So enough to stay busy and have a nice vacation. Have a friend in town who's been here for 3 weeks, just doing different things, going to Tahoe, going to California. A couple people drove in to, or from San Francisco, got to see Alcatraz and just the Golden Gate Bridge and everything out that way. And so taking advantage of all these West Coast trips, and next year is going to be a little bit of the same, but a little bit different. Going to Las Vegas, I'm sure that you guys are already registered and ready to go, doing all the paperwork, making sure you get the right dates and times. And if you haven't, you better do so.
Yeah, it's part of the, I guess, process of where we're at with all our teams getting out of, a lot of them just getting out of college, getting first jobs, that a lot of people don't have a lot of vacation, so there's usually quite a bit of checking over the summer, and usually early in the fall, August, September, we'll register for next year based on when it looks like everybody can have some time off. We're usually in the first month or two of the season, but it's hard with, going from college to internships to full-time jobs to sometimes get the time off, so we're always trying to plan around that. I was kind of worried a couple weeks ago coming out here, everybody on Facebook, it looked like there must have been a decent snowstorm out here, or there's at least snow on the ground. I thought, well, that's not a lot of fun coming from Wisconsin. We got plenty of that there. Why come down to the southwest to Reno and to go to the same thing? But it's been 65 and sunny, a little bit of rain, but it's been gorgeous out here.
Today was just one random day where we got, in some areas, 9 inches of snow. Didn't make any sense. No idea where it came from. But it disappeared quickly, and just a lot of sunshine out there. And had a good time at the baseball game the other day, and getting out and seeing some of the cool restaurants on the river. The Wild River Grill, a big supporter of the Open Championships and part of the Captain's Club. Actually, if you have 6 or more teams, you get a lot of cool items: a neck pillow, a pullover, and a voucher to the Wild River Grill to go out and have some food. And just all part of the recognition program growing here to say thank you to our hardworking team captains and our dedicated bowlers. We talked about 1 or 2 of the guys here on this group actually celebrating 20 plus years and picking up that 20-year pad folio and now getting chevrons for 21 through 24. And then later today we will welcome Frankie May Jr. to our 50-year club, and then Bob Martin from San Antonio will reach 55 years. So just so much dedication, and that's what makes this event go. And I think you guys were fortunate to have some early success back in 2012 and understand what it's all about. You get to come out and see the champion next to your name every year, or the Orange Eagle in some years. It's got to be pretty special, and I think we've got 10 lifers out there. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't see anybody quitting or not wanting to come. I see a lot of other people that go through junior leagues in our town and maybe bowl a little bit in college, and then they just stop, and it's sad for that. But I like it. With our 10, it seems like nobody's dying out on bowling. Everybody likes it as much as they did when they were in college and when we started together in 2012, and it's just kind of getting stronger from there. So I don't foresee any reason that we won't be coming back every year for as long as we're upright and breathing.
All right, well, all these New Yorkers we're watching right now, they've been at this for a while. Again, Tryniski and Distin going back to 1994. A pair of titles that year, regular doubles and team all events. And now everybody in the group with at least 10 years of experience, most of them all together. And, past success and the potential for more success is what landed them on Bowl TV today. You're watching live coverage of their doubles and singles with Matt Cannizzaro, and our special guest for the next few minutes, Nick Heilman, new doubles leaders, tied for the doubles lead here in 2016. And a couple guys familiar with double success, Joe Conti and Derek Magno. And of course, Tryniski and Distin winning back 2 decades ago. But things looking pretty good here. Going through about 7 frames of singles, game number 1. And they finished doubles strong after a little bit of a slow start. High on the pair, 13:01 was Magno and Conti again. They're the reason we're here today, and they definitely gave it a run after early struggles. But Nick, you watched a few frames of doubles, and then now into the game one of singles. Any analysis from your expertise here and what you're seeing?
It still looks like the lanes are so good for them, and they've got a lot of area to work with. There's been some bad breaks. I think Derek just left just a stone 9-pin, and there's been a lot of stuff that could prevent them from really big games. Almost all of them have good games over 200 going, but there could be some really, really big games in here with a couple more breaks, a couple 10 pins like that, I don't know from I haven't watched close enough, if that's one of those zones that they're just getting stuck in. It looked like he thought he threw that one pretty well and was surprised by that 10, and we certainly had a lot of that where there was a lot of shots we felt were pretty good off of our hand and just 10'd, or there wasn't a lot of 4s, there wasn't a lot of high 7s, there wasn't a lot of 9s, but there was a lot of 10s on shots that you thought you threw good, and it might be what they're kind of hidden in here too.
All right, so Conti working on a double, Distin as well. Tryniski stepping up on 16 right now, trying to make it 4 in a row. These guys setting themselves up nicely for a big finish here in game one. Again, the number they're chasing, 815. Robert J. Burrs from Painesville, Ohio. He also is your all events leader at 21-22. And I think as some guys roll through and they take a look at that number, again, you saw the leaderboard, 1341 was leading doubles. Certainly not all that intimidating. A lot of guys will walk in and feel like that is an attainable number. 815 and 21-22, maybe not as much.
I like these a lot better. I liked the numbers in 2012. I mean, we bowled, I think, the second or third week of the tournament and had 3401, and it held on to win. It was a nervous 5 months after that or whatever it was. But I have to imagine everybody that walks into the bowling center has to think, 3401, 680 a guy, that's not bad, it's attainable. And you look at it and you think the same thing for your doubles. This year, obviously, singles is not saying out of reach because somebody can certainly shoot over that, but it's an intimidating number at 815 to walk in here. All events, even at what it is, it can be somewhat attainable, but I like walking in. I like seeing that, you don't have to average 700 a guy. You can have a guy who struggles and shoots 6.0 to 620, and you can still make a good run at, if not getting to the lead, you can put up a good number that's going to make you some cash in team. And we shot 30-50 this year and gave away a good amount of sticks on some single pins, a couple bad breaks. But, we bowl good and don't have those bad breaks or miss our single pins, and we're at 31-50, maybe 32-0. It's not going to win, but it's, I'm not going to say you're going to feel good, but it's a tough condition. You feel good about that. You know that 3,200 is, you worked for every pin that you got out there, and it just kind of means something more, I feel.
That's where the tough balance comes in with this event, where you kind of know it's going to be challenging. You have to make good shots. You have to make your spares. And a lot of bowlers maybe not as familiar with the tougher lane conditions, but they come in, they know it's going to be tough, but they look up at the leaderboards, they see those numbers, and they feel like they can get there. On the other end of it, if they're a little bit softer and scores are super high, you come in and you see 860 on the leaderboard or 2300. That's amazingly intimidating, and you kind of get a little bit discouraged even before you even go out there. So it's a tough balance between trying to find something that's challenging and realistic, and just something that's just phone numbers to shoot at, I guess, and you're scaring people away before they even start.
It's like anything else. You're never going to please everybody with it. We got certainly plenty of people back home by us would say they would rather bowl a tournament and average 230 and not cash than to average 210 and to win it. And I have to imagine it's the same across the country. You're going to have both sides of it. Us personally, I mean, we like the lower scores. It's a grind out. It's kind of what nationals should be, I feel like. You worry more about shooting spares. It's not league where you should get really discouraged about hitting the pocket and leaving 10 pins all day because you pick up single pins and stuff like that. You're going to shoot good scores, and it's going to carry over. That's my feeling. I think you want to shoot league-style scores and bowl league. I think your nationals and and stuff like this is always going to be obviously a little bit tougher. But like you said, walking in and seeing the numbers for team events, seeing the numbers for doubles, I mean, you've got to have a sense of, well, that's not out of reach. You know, if we bowl well, we can get to 1340, we can get to the mid-32s in team.
Some big changes coming up next year in 2017, and there's kind of a lost demographic, I think, from our event where you know, they're a little intimidated perhaps by the divisional structure and some of the competition. So starting in 2017, there will be a third division here at the Open Championships. We'll still have our classified division at 180 and below, and our regular division will shift to 210 and above. And so the middle guys, 181 to 209, will have their own division, the standard division. And I think for those bowlers coming in currently who might be 185, 190 bowlers, I feel that it's a little bit tougher to compete with the Matt McNeils and the Nick Heilmans of the world. You know, they're able to find a place now in that third division, and hopefully things will get off as well as we hope for that, and we can attract and retain some of those maybe bowlers, the on-the-fence guys who aren't sure about the trip and the expenses. And but I think once you have this Open Championships experience and you march down center aisle for the first time, and you bowl well and take home some prize money, I think that certainly will help you know, maintain those bowlers and maybe attract some new ones with the changes. And I don't know, what are you hearing in the pro shop world and up there in Wisconsin, and from some of those guys, those league bowlers, maybe the guys who came and decided maybe it's not for them, or the ones who have been intimidated about trying and might be interested now?
I just want to start with, I've always kind of been somebody, I'm kind of looking for maybe validation's not the right word, but something I want to bowl well and have some kind of, I guess, validation for after winning the team event that we're kind of there. And being mentioned in the comment of the Matt McNeils and Nick Heilmans, if I'm in the same sentence as Matt for anything, well, we'll take that. It'll be exciting to watch him come out here and see what he does on this. I don't know if you saw, but it is a little bit of a tragedy. We did have the cover out. He is fully retired from mini golf now. If you didn't see that, it was too hard on his heart. In all seriousness, he told us he did have to give it up because he does get too upset playing that. So I'm kind of worried because now 100% of his attention is on bowling and not that 20% that I'm sure he devotes to mini golf regularly like we all do. It could be a whole nother animal for him coming out here bowling on this. But I don't hear a lot of it in the shop as far as that division. A lot of our leagues up by us are pretty soft, so we don't have a lot of the people in the 180 to 209 average that bowl a lot of stuff outside of leagues. This popping up, I mean, hopefully it gets some entries for it and get some of them that want to start looking out, but it's been quiet on it.
All right, well, that of course is the goal, to attract and retain some bowlers in that middle of the road standard division. So looking forward to all the changes and seeing some new faces perhaps in 2017. Again, the registration is open, so if you'd like to get your team entered, do so, and do so early, as Las Vegas is attracting many teams and days are filling up already. We'll have that event from February 18th until same time, about July 10th or 11th. And you can visit bowl.com for more details on that and to get registered. But right now, we're watching live coverage of this 2016 event here at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno. And Joe Conti off to a good start, 822. Dean Distin will be in the 200s as well.
I'm kind of wondering, watching them, if they're going through the same kind of transition that we went through about this time. We all bowled, put up some big numbers. The last game of doubles, us and the other couple teams on our pair all bowled really well and had a lot of 220s, 230s, people with the front five and stuff on our pairs. And then singles, it kind of died off for game one. Kind of got lost in it a little bit. And we came back in games 2 and 3, and it just looks, by looking at the scores, 220s, 2-0s, right in there, that it's just that you get stuck in that little zone. And we all had to make another kind of, not a jump, but a little bit of a step left, and just kind of get away from being as straight as we were and get a little bit more angles opened up. And I'm kind of wondering, watching them now here a little bit more and seeing their scores, if they're going to go through the same thing. it still looks, the lanes still look really nice. It still looks like there's some big scores out there that they can certainly shoot the way they're throwing the ball.
Looks like we're seeing some shinier equipment, even some pearl stuff come out here as they make those moves left. Distin finishes with 203, 206 for Magno, Tryniski 193. And the big guy on this pair looks like it's going to be Ray Sear. He can still get to 257 after an open in the first frame. Some ball changes being thought about here. It looks like Distin going to the bag and pull out something different for game number 2, despite that double in the 10th frame. There are a couple of left-handers in the group. They're on the other pair to our left, 13 and 14. TJ Mento, Art Alexander. Always good to have a balance, and if you're gonna have one lefty, probably having a second one can't hurt, just to have those extra eyes and maybe a little bit of assistance in handling the oil patterns. Another great shot by Tryniski there. We'll get into the 220s, and these guys have had a lot of success. And you mentioned that for Nick, you guys not spending too much time at the Bowlers Journal, don't want to get any preconceptions or misconceptions, or kind of start getting into bad habits and make bad shots. And these guys have taken advantage of the Bowlers Journal in the past. A doubles title for Tryniski and Alexander back in 2006, and a Bowlers Journal singles title for Joe Conti in 2009. Just some extra prize money, and again, didn't catch up with them too much about what they've been up to the last couple of days. But for those of you headed our way, if you do want to check out the doubles and singles pattern, you can do so at the Bowlers Journal this year, being held on the showcase lanes down on the high end of the 4th floor here, or plenty of different strategies out there. We talked to Anthony Lacaz, and he was glad they bowled the Bowlers Journal to get the bad shots out of the way, is how he described it. And then pretty neat though, hearing from all the different teams and the strategies, and just what goes into finding the kind of success that you guys have had over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, if there's a plain and simple formula for every team to score well out here, everybody would do it. I think it's just a little bit different for us. I think most of us are going to go bowl it tonight. Some of us are leaving tomorrow morning, and some are staying until Wednesday, so I'm imagining a couple will bowl a little bit more tomorrow too. It's just, like I said, whatever worked for somebody isn't going to work for everybody, and this may not be the best way for us, but it's our best guess at it right now, and for the most part, it's been okay. But like I said, we're still going to bowl it. It's just, I guess, kind of doing things backwards to how a lot of teams do it.
Well, just looking at it the same way, as far as prize money goes, Bowlers Journal, pretty good amount of prize money and opportunities over there between singles, doubles, and all the jackpots, and the fact that you can bowl doubles with up to 4 people at one time, and the dual entry prize list, also the chance to use the same scores for doubles and singles at the same time. But for a lot of people coming out, using the Bowlers Journal as a chance to see the doubles and singles pattern before heading over to the Open Championships. But at the same time, you guys bowled the Open Championships first, and now have an idea of what might work and what might help you over at the Bowlers Journal. So kind of same strategy, but the opposite. And I'm curious to see, and I hope that helps over there with going in with the game plan, depending, of course, if you're going to bowl on the fresh or bowl on the burn. So another strategic decision there. But the cool part is you are taking advantage of the fact that the Bowlers Journal is here in the venue. And of course, I wish you good luck and success over there. And obviously that 1341 doubles number is going to be one. I'm sure you'll be checking the leaderboards here once or twice between now and July, and should be a pretty interesting scoreboard watch for you once again.
Yeah, I don't think it has nearly the chance to hold up that the team event did in 2012, but that doesn't mean we'll be checking it any less. I think by the time we got done with team event in 2012, we thought, well, that'll be a top 10 score, maybe if we're lucky. And every week and month they went by, well, maybe a top 5, maybe a top 3, and maybe we get lucky and it does the same thing this year. But the way the lanes are, the amount of really good and talented bowlers that are coming through and have yet to come through, I don't see it. there's somebody that's going to get lined up, somebody that's going to whack them, and, you know, whatever we end with. Take a top 20 score. It's the same thing as 2012. We never thought we would have one eagle to begin with. If we ever finished in the top 25 for team or any event, it kind of blew past all of our expectations, and we'll kind of treat this one the same way. And the longer it holds on and stays there, the more kind of heart-wrenching it is when it does get beat. But I mean, that's what they're for. There's too many days left. There's too many really good bowlers coming through to really have a, you know, to really get your heart set on, oh, we're in the lead now, so that's going to hold up for sure.
Well, I think before we let you go, you know, we'll talk a little bit about that. You know, for Eric Vermillion and his guys, it was kind of the opposite. They led doubles back in 2010, and they held on for quite a while and came up just a little bit short. Actually, 7 pins short, I believe, was the number. And again, the scoreboard watch, all part of the experience. And that moment when that score gets beat, and you realize that for them, they thought that was their one shot in time. That was their eagle run. They put up 1,500, and most years that's going to be a winning score, and it ended up being not quite enough. So when they got back in that position in 2013 for team all events, they approached it completely differently, just a whole different feel to it, and of course the end result much better for them that year. They took home the team all events title. And now, again, they're in a similar position, looking for their 3rd TAE title in 4 years, and not super confident with the number they put up, but that's pretty good to walk out of here with the lead, you know, just about every year, or to have that kind of performance with the pressure that you have being on live stream and you know, being the champs and everybody's looking at you. But now that you guys have experienced that and you were able to hold on for the win, can you sum up just this whole experience, and even if you end up 17th for the year, just walking out of here after, you know, 2 solid days, all the hard work paid off. You guys all bowled well, had a good time together, and I'm sure already thinking about next year a little bit in the back of your mind. But can you sum up the whole experience, regardless of how the things pan out on July 11th?
Well, whether we hold on or not, I mean, I think we got about every pin we could out of it, and you can't really have any regrets about it. At that point, it's, you know, we had some bad breaks. I missed a single pin. I left a 4-9 and took none. I take one and sin. But then you look back, and the team that's got 1341, you know, I'm sure they weren't clean for 60 on there too. Everybody's going to have, you know, frames that you can sit back and go, well, if I did this or if I did that, and looking back, it's real easy that way. But I think more than anything, we're just happy. I'm happy with how the 10 of us bowled for team event. I'm happy with how that went, what our strategy was, how we executed the strategy, and then that it kind of carried over into doubles, and that went well. As happy as I am about the score, it's not going to change if it ends up 2nd, 3rd, 15th, or 20th.
Well, no doubt, we'll definitely give you guys another chance next year in 2017 in Las Vegas. And Nicholas J's Pro Shop growing up before our eyes a little bit from that group of youngsters we saw in 2012, and coming in looking like champions, and of course earning that designation that year. I totally expect a long career of success for you guys. Keep up the hard work and the communication, and definitely the type of champions that we are proud, of course, to have here and representing our event. Any final thoughts for the folks out there in Bowl TV land before you head out and go enjoy Reno?
Not a lot. If you're still coming, I mean, it's said the numbers are attainable. The shot's not impossible. You have to manage it, and you have to make spares. It's a good time. The weather's going to be good, and there's all kinds of other stuff going on. So we're excited to take advantage of that for the rest of the night, and then go back to Wisconsin tomorrow. But it's supposed to be in the 70s back there, so we're not leaving too much. It'll be okay.
All right, so you guys, I believe, probably going to transition out of bowling season a little bit and do some other things. I know that's how it works up there. A little bit challenging to stay focused on the game at that point. I mean, what do you guys, you know, what is the summer like for you, and as far as work and bowling, and what is there for you after the Open Championships, really?
I have a lawn mowing company that I own also, so pretty much as soon as Pro Shop season ends, grass is growing, and I'm ready to do that from mid-April through mid-September, October, depending on the weather. So the pro shop life and lawn mowing life kind of go hand in hand. And if I had to do either for 12 months, I'd probably go crazy. After 6 months being inside for the pro shop, I'm ready to be outside. We'll still have summer league. Most of us, I think all of us that are still in lacrosse, still bowl the same summer league on Thursday nights to get a little bit of time in. If I take more than 2 weeks off, it's like I haven't bowled in 2 years. It's just I have to have a repetitive feel. Even if it's not anything kind of competitive, I need to actually be throwing a ball, or it's not pretty. Andy can go 2 months and it would look like he's been bowling 100 games every day, but other than that, it's like I said, I'm into that. Everybody else is kind of staying the same. We got a farm I kind of take care of and keep all my equipment at. We got a dirt bike track out there, so we ride dirt bikes a little bit. Usually wait for Andy to go over the handlebars once in the spring, and he calls it good for the summer, and try again next year, but have some fun with that, and that's kind of our summer.
Very cool. Sounds great. Hopefully good Wi-Fi out on the farm so you can keep an eye on the Bowl.com leaderboards and our broadcast the rest of the way here on Bowl TV. Definitely, Nick Heilman, thanks for joining us here in our Bowl TV booth, and congratulations on another great performance, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again soon, and good luck with the preparation for next year. I'm sure the jersey design and such already underway, and we look forward to seeing what Nicholas Jays has for us in 2017.
You're looking forward to seeing what color pants Andy has in 2017.
And that as well.
So, thank you, Matt. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that is your new co-doubles leader, Nick Heilman. Him and Andy Mills got the job done today. 13:41 on top of the standings. They're going to go enjoy Reno, and we're going to watch the end of singles here on our 1 p.m. doubles and single squad. Joe Conti off to a good start. 222 has the front three here in game number 2. Ray Sear, 246 start, and just missed 3 in a row here to start game 2. One pair to our left, the left-hander, Art Alexander, with the front 6. 203 start for him. We'll keep an eye on what transpires there. TJ Mento, also left-handed, also with 6 in a row. And we'll see if we can't get the camera moved if it gets down to an exciting 10th frame. But we do thank everybody for joining us here. This is Matt Canizar. We heard today from both doubles leaders, Andy Mills and Nick Heilman. We'll see who else wanders by.
As always, take care.
Andy Mills, check it out as well. It's always good to see those guys, and really getting to see them grow up here on the big stage. Going back to their win in 2012, and had no idea who they were, but they looked like they knew what they were doing, and they proved it with a big performance, shooting 3,400 to take home the team title and get their careers off to a terrific start. We give a quick shout out to Open Championships titleist Zeno Garcia, and appreciate the kind words there in our Southwest Facebook group, and thank you for tuning in. Zeno, of course, part of the record-setting team here that shot 37-20 to take home the regular team title in 2014, and forever a piece of tournament history. Their team name and banner still hanging over the lanes here at the National Bowling Stadium as a record holder. Not sure we'll see a number like that anytime soon, but still Zeno with the 300 here in the NBS a couple of years back, and now an Eagle winner. So very cool. Thank you for the kind words as well, and for tuning in, Mr. Garcia. And to everybody else out there, we'll be back on the air again on April 18th with last year's regular team champs, Team NABR. We get to see Adam Barta Scott Pohl, Brian Wallachek, Mike Groves Jr., and Rob Gottschall try to make it 2 in a row. All right, so both guys to our left, unable to strike again in the 7th frame. TJ Mento 9 dash, and Art Alexander with a 9 spare. So right now, Joe Conti is the guy, front 5 here in our featured pair. The number they're chasing, 815. So Conti's gonna need them all if he's gonna get there. 822 still a possibility. Certainly seen strings of strikes like that happen here at the OC. We saw Ron Vokes throw 30 in a row back in 2009. And of course, right here at the NBS, the NBS record at the Open Championships, 858. John Janowitz, 279, 279, and 300. If you missed any of today's broadcast, you can see most of it in the archives here on Bowl TV, as well as our 2 previous broadcasts from the 2016 event. We saw a team event with Jeffrey Young, Jake Peters, and some of the top former Wichita players. They took the team lead at the time and bowled very well as a group. And then we saw Junior Team USA support for doubles and singles last week. The defending champs found their way back to the top of the leaderboard, and now leading team all events again here in 2016. You can see that broadcast in its entirety in the archives as well. All right, here's Conti up on lane 15, looking to make it 6 in a row to start game 2, and he goes high, leaves the 3-6-9. So mathematically, we will not see a new singles leader here on Bowl TV today, but perhaps those of you out there taking some notes, learning some stuff here, watching these guys from upstate New York. 6 very accomplished players. And I believe the youngster of the group with 10 Open Championships appearances. So these guys also a close-knit group, and we see their faces together each year, and always a threat to make a run at the top of the leaderboards. Taking a look at their performances so far here in 2016. Derek Magno, 554 in team, 664 in doubles. Dean Distin, 648 in team, 609 in doubles. Joe Conti Jr., 629, 637. Mike Tryniski, 552 and 606. Joey Petrowski, 578, 622, and Ray Sear, 653, 591. So most of them pretty consistent. High for the day today, Magno and Conti, 1301 in doubles. That's going to be just short of the top 10, but anytime you shoot 1300, that's a pretty great performance, and that's what got these guys in the mix for some airtime here on Bowl TV. They finished tied for 3rd in regular doubles back in 2013. Coming up next here at the National Bowling Stadium, the 5 p.m. team event. And we'll celebrate 55 years of participation with Bob Martin from San Antonio. And 50 years. Welcome to the 50-year club, Frankie May. He spent about 50 years here working in the booths as well. Right now, he's the motive guy here at the Open Championship. So when you're in town, stop by and say hi to Frankie. And congratulations on 5 decades here at the OC. Full house right now, lanes 1 through 60. That's every lane being used for this year's Open Championships. The rest of the 78 split. There's a couple lanes there walled off for the lane maintenance area. And then the last 14 lanes being used as the showcase lanes for practice sessions and the Bowlers Journal Championships. So a lot of opportunity to compete here at the National Bowling Stadium. Take advantage. Also have the 40 frame game being held downstairs in the Kingpin Club. So depending on your competitive outlook, a little more laid back down there at the 40 frame game, but still a lot of prize money up for grabs. And upstairs at the showcase lanes, team practice on the 38-foot team pattern. Bowler's Journal being contested on the 39-foot doubles and singles pattern. So a lot of bowling to be done, but still a lot to do outside of the stadium as well. We're still early in the 2016 Open Championships. Kick things off March 5th. We'll go all the way till July 11th. And still more than a half dozen broadcasts left here on Bowl TV from this year's event. Coming up next, we mentioned Team NABR defending team champ on April 18th, followed by defending regular singles champion Ronnie Sparks Jr. on April 29th. Matt McNeil will be in town to put his regular all events title on the line. We'll have his doubles and singles live on May 1st. And then Team USA member Brianna Cody will be here on her way to some of the PWBA stops being held out here on the West Coast. They'll be here May 10th for the 8:30 p.m., 11:30 Eastern team event. And then we'll head to Las Vegas for the USBC Queens and Senior Queens. And Aaron Smith will have 3 broadcasts coming to you live from the Women's Championships at the new South Point Bowling Plaza in Las Vegas. So if you're curious about the schedule, you can check out bowl.com/livestream, and you'll know what's coming up here in the next few weeks. If you're interested in seeing some of the news and notes from the event that's maybe not quite breaking news, remember to like or at least find the Open and Women's Championships Facebook page. A lot of cool stuff there, little videos, photos of the day, or just updates on anybody making a run at the top of the leaderboards here. Now, we're not going to see new leaders in singles. But perhaps one or more of these guys can put something together for a nice single set or a big finish here. Ninth frame of game 2 right now. 3 out of 4 with strikes in the foundation frame. So those front sixes to our left turned into 221 for TJ Mento and 245 for Art Alexander. Singles numbers right now, 815 on top, Robert Burrs. Matt Small on 785, Camden Rokita 779, Will Barnes 764, Tyler Wilds 759, Jim Russell 749, Matthew Tuckfield 745, Jerry Rapp 744 with a 288 game, had the front 10. Jared Schmidt 729, and rounding out the top 10, Steve Novak at 719. And if you want to make the top 10 in all events, 2019 is your number. 5th place, 2055. And again, leading the way, Robert J. Burrs, 666, 641, and 815 for 21-22. Tenth frame coming up now. There's Magno, already got the first one. He has been consistent all day. Strike here puts him in the 2-0s one more time, and the 10 pin will not cooperate, so he'll be in the 190s after a 206 start. Today's video clip of Andy Mills picking up a washout to secure a share of the doubles lead. Get some attention there on Facebook, so appreciate everybody checking that out. Here's Conti stepping up. Working on a strike and get to 257 after a 222 start. Magno finishes with a 192, so he's just minus as Conti leaves a 4 pin. Clearly frustrated. Great shot. Big shooter to our left, high on the pair, Art Alexander, the third, 203, 245. Tryniski trying to make it a double here. Good hold on lane 16. So he can get to 200 even after the 193 start. .22, 237 for Joe Conti Jr. Joe, definitely a team player. His singles average at the Open Championships through 9 years, 196.5, but 210.6 in team, 211.6 in doubles. His high single set 672. So looking to top that number here and off to a great start. 459 after 2 games. So one more in the 220s and have a career best singles performance. Magno's best singles effort came here in 2014 at the NBS, 788, on the way to a career best 2118 all events total. The string of strikes comes to an end at 6 for Distin. And the opening of the 10th leaves him at 203, 224. Some Grace here throwing great shots here the first 2 games of singles, and just can't get the carry to go in his favor. 5-9 counts after a 246 start. Spare here puts him in the 220s. Spare no problem for Ray. Tryniski looking to make it 3 in a row. He can still get to 217 after a 228 start. So we expect some pretty good single scores based on how well these guys finished doubles. Minus a couple shots, creeping high, and some bad carry. Pretty nice singles performance so far through 2. Final 2 shots for game 2 coming up here. Shear gets that one wide. Everybody goes 225. So he'll be your high guy at 471 through 2. Tryniski finishes with 217. Pretty nice 2 game totals, 459, 427, 445, 398, 392, 471. And we'll have game 3, the finale, coming up here in just a minute. Thank you for tuning in. You are watching continued live coverage of the 2016 USBC Open Championships. This is Matt Cannizzaro at the National Bowling Stadium, and I'll be right back after this station identification. Game 3 now underway. right, just want to set our record straight here in the chat room for Jolie. Unfortunately, in order to put out one of these live stream broadcasts, we do need to take down the webcams. So in order to get the required amount of bandwidth to do a live stream, and unfortunately it's always seems to be the worst timing, but they'll be back up after we're done here with this this doubles and singles broadcast. I know that doesn't help the fact for right now. We do apologize for that inconvenience, but that is our technical situation here at the National Bowling Stadium, and it's a pretty significant bandwidth difference in taking those 3 cameras down. So not broken, just turned off for the time being. And thank you to everybody sticking with us here. Through all 6 games, numbers have been pretty good. And if you missed any of today's broadcast, minus the 2 frames, you can see it in the archives here on Bowl TV. Had a little bit of a late start, tripping over some YouTube things, but got up in about the 3rd frame or so. Didn't miss too much of the early grind. You got to see the good stuff, and as these guys transitioned into the final game of doubles, finished strong, and have been bowling very well here in singles. Again, the number they were chasing, 815. The number is going to be safe for today, at least on this pair. Did have a tie for the doubles lead earlier, in case you missed it. Nick Heilman and Andy Mills, part of the 2012 team champion Nicholas J's Pro Shop. We'll have a recap of that for you on bowl.com later today. Gonna take down the live stream here when we're done. Get ready for a 55-year guy, Bob Martin, and a 50-year Frankie May Jr. Get some pictures of them, and then get back to the office to get working on the earlier news. So a lot of great things happening here at the event, not just big scores, but also big participation milestones and so many dedicated bowlers, and we appreciate every bit of it. Jolie in the chat room again, you're in luck. Again, this is the 1 p.m. doubles and singles squad. Great shot there by Dean Distin, but 8-pin doesn't cooperate. As soon as we're done, as soon as we go off the air here, the IT guys will flip the switch and get the webcams back up and running. So you will be able to watch your friends bowling at 5 p.m. And again, tomorrow during doubles and singles. 3 webcams inside the venue. First one is just to my right, over behind lanes 19 and 20 or so, and then 2 located on the high side. Some areas of the National Bowling Stadium just a little challenging to get to with those cameras, so if you're bowling on essentially the very low side, 1 and 2, 4, 5, that area, up through probably lane 10, a little bit of a distant view, and then lane 29 and 30 and the first few pairs on the right side of center aisle, a little bit challenging too, but certainly very cool to be able to see your friends and family. And now live scoring up as well, so you can check that out on the scores tab and the information tab on bowl.com. And of course, going into 2017, both live streaming and the webcams will be going away, so please enjoy every opportunity here in 2016. Here we are getting to the halfway point of the singles finale. Solid singles performance across the board for these guys. Conti up on the left lane, 222, 237. Almost leaves the 8-10, but the 10 goes. Great shot. Unfortunate result. Petrowski was a bit of a giggle there. Top 10 in singles right now, 7-19. And your leader, 8-15. Nice shot there by Distin. Trips the 4. Fortunate break there for Sear on the 3-bagger. He's bowling great here in singles. 246, 225 with, I think, 5 9 counts. And the flat dime for Petrowski on the 4-bagger, so his run comes to an end. These guys all tons of success in New York and Syracuse area. The post-standard master seems to be a common victory and probably pretty prestigious up that way. Local and state Hall of Fame recognition. Continued success here at the OC. Not the last we'll hear or see from these guys. Petrowski throwing pins. We got the 7-10 there for sure. Everybody getting done. 60 lanes going and things wrapping up here. Tough break for Distin with the 4.67, and you heard Nick Heilman talk about it. Just what a grind these 9 games are. You think 9 games is no problem, but just mentally and physically, just based on how hard you prepare and how much it means, it wears you down. And then, you know, frustration magnified, knowing that you only get one chance at it per year. You tried and practiced so hard, and things don't quite go the right way. Trying to get back on track and stay focused. Always challenging. And trying to ride the momentum as the lanes change and the day progresses. Also part of the OC challenge. calculator out here in just a minute, get the final numbers for you. And if you know any of these guys and want to reach out for some insight, I'm sure they'll be glad to tell you about their strategy or equipment choices or what they did to either find success or struggle here in 2016. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Nice performance last night from both teams, really. Lakeview Lanes struggled in game 2. They had 1087, 920, and 1058 to get to 3065, just outside the top 10. 3,000 this year is a pretty spectacular effort. And the other team, Racers Pro Shop, 965, 910, and 1040 in the finale for 2915. I don't know any team or bowler who came out here and walked away thinking they got everything they could, and I'm sure these guys feel the same. Just some things sometimes don't go your way, and you get what you can and move on to the next day. That's what they did. Things going pretty well. Doubles, everybody over 1,200. Magno and Conti, 1,301. And now a nice single set here. Certainly will pay for this year's trip and maybe next year's entry fee as well. And all you can ask for is to just get a little piece of the action. Yeah, just a couple frames from the end here, but our next live stream broadcast coming up on April 18th. Don't forget to tune in. And if you want to check that schedule, bowl.com/livestream. Great shot there by Conti for the double. Great shot by Petrowski. He's got 6 out of 7 here in game 3. 228, 217 start. Pair to our left, just getting done in the 10th frame, so we'll do some calculations for upstate New York bowling fans. Good question in the chat room. Does anybody know if Lodge Lanes has bowled yet? And those guys, I believe they're up to 4 teams again this year. They'll be here in June. These guys still doing work down to the very end. Some nice single scores coming right up. As soon as Sear takes care of this 2-pin, we'll have the final frame coming up, and that'll be in just a moment. And last pair in the house. That's 2 live streams in a row. This time they bowled on the wrong lane to start singles, so get a little forgiveness for that. Another great shot, and Conti can't get that 10-pin to go. Nice finish for Magno. Throws the last 5 for 206 and a 604 series. Very consistent performance for Derek. 677 for Conti, so mentioned earlier his career best, 672. So he surpasses that. Always good to raise the bar here at the Open Championships. All right, Tryniski finishes with 195 for 587. Distin, 195 for 622. Sear just can't catch a break on this single set. So many 9 counts after that 246 start. See if Tryniski can finish big here. Still got 279 out there. And he leaves a 4-pin as well. So who will have the honor of the final shot on today's 1 p.m. doubles and singles squad? Sear looking to pick up his 4-pin first. He does with no problem. Now Tryniski's turn. And why not? Final 10-pin for Ray. That's about how the last 2 games went, but still a solid 684 set. And big 703 for Tryniski, just going to miss the top 10, that number 719. But still a great finish, progressively better with every set. And your unofficial numbers from the top, we'll start with Lakeview Lanes, just missing the top 10 last night, 30-65. But all events totals, again, unofficial. Art Alexander III, 1878. TJ Mento, 1793. Mike Carno, 1742. Joe Tryniski, 1903. Ray Sear, 1928. And our other team, Derek Magno, 1822. Dean Distin, 1879. Joe Conti Jr., 1943. Larry Porter, 1586. And Mike Tryniski, 1745. That's going to do it for today's broadcast from the National Bowling Stadium here in Reno, Nevada. Again, it was continued live coverage of the 2016 Open Championships doubles and singles today. We'll have our next broadcast will be a team event on April 18th. Check bowl.com/livestream for the details. Do appreciate everybody joining us today here on Bowl TV. This is Matt Cannizzaro, and that is the news for now, folks. I will see you on the lanes.